So I think I'm gonna just go in order. Before I do the missions, actually, let me talk about the playbook. So this is it. It's built into Notion. So if you're not familiar with Notion is, go ahead and check it out. One of the best project management tools ever, if I'm being honest with you. And after months of, first off, after years of training my coaches, teaching my clients, training my team, I was able to put everything into the playbook. I write a lot of stuff down. There's no point in me even showing you all the notebooks that I've written in over the years, but this is what I've gotten to help people learn business. All right. So now let's just see if it's real. I'm gonna put the energy out into the world, and we're just gonna start with the guidelines. Let's go ahead and check out the guidelines. Let's see if the playbook actually works. Everything in my career menu and the experience is all tied to the missions. So all I have to do is click on any of the gamified courses. We're going to start with the guidelines, and I should be able to start automatically learning business and turning my career into a game. Okay. You know that meme, I want to see the CEO of so use it and blah, blah, blah. So let's do this. Let's see if the CEO of Pitch Play Co. can use the playbook and it actually worked. There we go. I'm putting myself on a line here because I've never, it's my first time streaming it, first time using it publicly. So let's go ahead and do it. The guidelines are split up into 13 arenas. I didn't even explain this. All of the arenas are just supposed to help you learn business, but have a better relationship with business, because for the most part, a lot of our relationships with business is unhealthy. A lot of our relationships with business are unhealthy. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we unlearn things that we've learned and see if we can get a healthier view of business. So the guidelines is supposed to teach you, how is business a game? So arena 1 is the introduction to the game of business. So we're going to start with the first mission, which is research how business began, from bartering to digital trade. All right, so there's a lot of information in here, but since I'm just going to go ahead and go through it, I'll do it slowly. I love the first example. Think of a lemonade stand, right? I have my lemons, my sugar, my water. I make my drinks. I'm outside in the hot sun. I'm giving up my time and energy to make sure that people who are tired or exhausted in this hot sun and want something refreshing, they can have some lemonade. I made it. It's all fresh, right? So that's my idea. So I'm going to sell lemonade on the hottest day. And it's Atlanta, where I'm from, so it's an extremely hot day. I'm offering my time or offering a service, and people are coming up and they're exchanging money, okay? That concept of exchanging money for my service or product, that is what we know today as capitalism. It's the easiest way to kind of describe it. That's known as capitalism. I don't know how loud the joint is. It's kind of loud on mine, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Check it out, though. All right, so capitalism is a system where people, not the government, mostly own and run businesses. The goal is to usually make a profit. So I own my lemonade stand. You walk up to me, exchange my business, my service for money. Boom, capitalism. Pretty easy, right? So you now understand at least what we know today, but business started a long time ago, obviously. Very, very long time ago. I'm going to leave this up, at least on the screen, but I'll explain it in my own words, or at least try my best to explain it in my own words. If you ever seen the Rick and Morty episode where they abolished the, the Purge? It was the Purge episode. They abolished the Purge system. And people are like, okay, well, what are we going to do now that the 1% is no longer in power? There's no longer a money system. What do we do? Someone was like, yeah, I know I like to make, I don't remember the thing, but y'all know I like to make so-and-so. So if I make so-and-so, as long as y'all give me X, Y, and Z, I'll give you so-and-so. Since I can't remember the exact thing, I don't want to butcher the episode, but if we're talking about the playbook, if I make bread, you give me some clothes and I exchange my bread for clothes. We're bartering, we're trading. Okay? Bartering is a common thing still today, but in capitalism, obviously is not as accepted. Where you do own service for service, you could trade. It's just not usually a thing that people do. It's not common, I'll say it like that. So this was before business got big. We just did trading. Now we're moving on to the medieval times. People are trading and settlements are starting to grow. Now people are starting to gather and stay in one location. Because there's a lot of people now, trading starts to become a little bit more complicated. You know, you can't make bread for everyone in the town, and everyone in the town can't provide you services for their bread. It's just time matters, right? You have your time, you got your money, and you got your reputation. 3 currencies that I'll talk about later. But your time is very limited, so you have to do what you can do within a day. So people started to make a trading system. Instead of service for service or product for product, they would trade with coins. All right, so silver, gold, copper, whatever. So merchants and traders are very, very important now. You have people traveling from town to town, trading what they have. You have people settling in town, providing a product, and now you're used to that merchant because you know what their services are going to bring. So this is the medieval times. Now we kind of moving into the Industrial Revolution. And so 1700s to 1800s, like literally all the way towards the end, where this is extremely prominent. Big machines were invented. So steam, for example, is the easiest thing that the steam engine is the easiest thing that I can use as an example. All right, so the steam engine is great. You can now use it for trains, use it for pretty much anything, if I'm being honest. You had things like the printing press, small inventions to us, but major inventions that led to what we have today. So big machines were invented. So now factories start to get created. Before, a lot of the blue collar workers were either working in gold mines or farms. Now you can add more jobs because we have factories to make these big machines. So people were leaving farms to work in these towns that are now known as cities, because cities is a collection of towns. Cities are collections of towns. At least that's the way I look at it. And business start to get bigger and bigger. It just makes it a lot easier now for people to participate in business, simply because business was starting to get more established. You still had trading, you still had bartering, you still had merchants. It's not changing, it's evolving. Okay, it's well, I guess that is a change, I suppose. It's not, we're not taking away things, we're adding on. So business is starting to grow, business is starting to be its own thing. And now we're moving into what we know as modern day capitalism. All right, so you got major companies. We'll use the examples that we see here just to make life simple. You have Ford, Apple, and Amazon. These are major companies that are born in the modern era. Instead of me giving you money for your product, I'd rather give you money for your business. Because historically, I've seen how successful businesses grow, and I've seen how it improves society or improves the stability of settlements. So I'm going to give you money for your idea. I like Apple. I'll give you $100. We're just making up random numbers, small numbers to keep the conversation light. I'll give you $100, and from that $100, use it for marketing, use it for creating the product, whatever you need it for, and let me just own a small percentage of your company, which people invest money into businesses and we call it stocks. All right, so I own some stocks in your company. These companies, Ford, Apple, Amazon, have created major inventions that pretty much all of us use or would consider using. So cars, computers, the internet. So Amazon is obviously an e-commerce business, or you buy stuff online, and you've seen plenty of businesses like that. That creates trucking companies, that creates even creates malls where you can have a lot of these e-commerce businesses have real life stores. The more these big companies grow, the bigger business gets. So these new inventions are changing everything, and trade, because of the Industrial Revolution, has become global. So you now didn't have to trade within your settlement. You can trade anywhere with anyone, which is fantastic because it makes life a lot easier. And then with the internet, it makes it easier for you to communicate with someone who could be across the globe. All right, so business became global. You can sell a toy made in Japan, ordered in the US, and then shipped from China. All right, and a lot of us are familiar with this modern day process. So that's modern capitalism as we know it. Now, why would this mission require you to study business from the beginning? Like, what's the point? Some people would potentially ask. The point is that when you don't understand why you're doing something, or if when you don't know something, you just participate without thinking it through, and that makes you an NPC, or that makes you an AI. And I don't want you to be either one of those things. So that's why I'm trying to cleanse your palate of bad teaching. And as a career coach, it's my job to help you get a better relationship with the sport, the game of business, and play it in a healthier way. So why this matters to you: every time you buy something, you're a part of business. You can't really think of a single person on this planet, unless they're a child, that hasn't partaken in business. And we're going to get into a lot heavier topics as we do more missions, but with this mission, we'll just keep it simple. Whenever you buy something, you are participating in business, right? You one day, I'm not sure what's going on. One day you might own your own business. That's another very, very important thing. If you own your own business, then you know that you have the power to exchange your product and service for money, but you could also barter, form partnerships. You can do a lot of things. I'm sure we'll see examples in the future. Okay, understanding business helps you understand the world. This is the realest statement ever, and this is why I love the first mission in the playbook, because the more you understand business, the more you think less like a consumer and think more like a producer. A lot of people are distracted because they are consuming what businesses produce. When you become a producer, the smoke and mirrors kind of go away. So you aren't really impressed by a lot of things. And then spiritually, it helps you just relax and stay focused on your purpose. All right, so you now know why things cost what they do, how jobs are created, and even why some people are rich and some people are poor. Most people. So, that's business. As you can see from what we talked about, it's an evolution, from before big business all the way to modern day capitalism. Business was just trading service for service or product for product, and it grew and it grew, and these companies started to become their own settlements, and a lot of people gather at these settlements, corporations, and then collect and trade and gather and partner, and that's how money gathers in one location, and a lot of people are left without a lot. So I think the vocabulary cheat sheet is obviously important for you to use. Business, let's just go through it. Business is trading things or services to earn money. Very easy. Capitalism is a system where people own businesses. Profit the extra money you made after cost. So if we're going back to that lemonade stand, I have not made a profit until I've recouped the money for my lemons, my water, and my sugar. Even the wood that I've used to create the lemonade stand, I haven't made a profit until I made all of that money back. Trade, giving one thing to get another, is still very common in today, even though it's not as popular. It's not like talked about, I say, publicly, but it is still very, very, very popular. A factory, a place where products are made. A market is a place where people buy and sell things. A factory, a place where products are made. A market is a place where people buy and sell things. So just like in the medieval times, people gather at the market. That's why even today in the internet, we have these digital markets. And then a corporation is a big business with many employees. To me, I like to think of it, and we'll probably get into this. Actually, I won't get too deep in it. Let's just keep it simple. This is the first mission. All right. So, in the playbook, it asks you if you want to write it down. So, and it gives you this note so that you can write whatever it is that you want to write. So let's go ahead and write some notes here, and we're gonna write something very, very simple. So, what did we learn? I'm automatically going to think about a few things that I want to write, and let's just say the date. Let's just put the date created. Let's do it right. All right. I'm actually gonna delete this property because I don't know. Yeah, let's delete that property. All right, so day created and then categories. So we created it today. Let's write some notes on this. And what do we? We're just gonna summarize what we think business is or how business started. Business started as an exchange of services or products. I don't have my glasses, so just bear with me. As an exchange of services. Oh my God, services or products. All right, so that's pretty easy. I'm still gonna add some stuff to the note though, because I'm just gonna add my coach's note and stuff that I think is extremely important for you to understand. We're saying you're gonna exchange service or products for things, right? An exchange of services or products for another service or product. Let's add our definition for another service or product. I'm going to now add in this next line, business evolved into trading currency for service or product. Okay, so first we were trading service for product, services or products for another service or products. Now it's kind of evolved into trading currency for a service or product. I'm going to make a note here for what currency is, because to me this is going to be very, very important for us to understand. To me, a currency is not just coin or whatever dollar that you're using inside of your country. So outside of the USD or euro or yen or won or whatever. Pounds, there's so many currencies in the world that obviously I can't rubies. We're just going to say currency is your time plus your money plus your reputation. We're just going to make a much deeper note for what currency is. All right, so it's your time and your money and your reputation. That's what we're going to say your currency is. The reason being I'm adding so much to this definition is because since business has evolved into trading currency for a service or a product, and we think currency is your time plus your money plus your reputation, we now have to think that time has value. Time has value. Money has value. And obviously your reputation has value. And that value we define into a currency. We keep it as simple as a dollar or a quarter or a nickel here in the United States. Whatever the lowest currency you can have, since we can't have pennies anymore. All right, so time has value, money has value, your reputation has value. So if we're saying we're trading a currency for a service or a product, since I'm a math guy, we get to make this a formula. We're saying you're trading your time plus your money plus your reputation for a service or product. I should probably put my glasses on, but aesthetics for the internet and whatnot. So your time, money, and reputation, you are always trading for a service or product. If you take away just time or money, right? So let's say you're not considering your time at all, or you're not considering your reputation whenever you get a service or a product. All right, so we're just going to say you don't consider those things to be true. If that is the case, then in my honest opinion, if you believe you're just trading your money for not reputation, your money for a service or product, to me this is a unhealthy relationship. Let's just turn this red, make life easy. I think this is an unhealthy relationship with business, and I'll explain why, and I'll harp on this probably a lot just as I keep going through different missions, but this is a healthier way to think about business. I'm just gonna add a note so I know why I made it green for later. There we go. This is a healthy relationship, and this is an unhealthy relationship. And we're gonna say unhealthy. All right, so why do I believe that your time, your money, and your reputation matters, and why I think this is a healthier relationship is because whenever you get your money, I guarantee you traded your time to get it. And I guarantee you traded your reputation to get that money. Those three things all go towards the currency that you have. So your bank account is a combination of all the time that you put in, all the money that you put in or are getting, and all of your reputation that you either built or destroyed is a reflection to me of what you are trading for a service or product, and all of those things matter for business. This is how I've gotten a little bit healthier with the concept of business. So let me explain. Every single person who is breathing, until God brings us up, we all have the same amount of time in a day. 24 hours, down to the second, we all have that exact same amount of time until God brings us home. This is your most stable part of your currency, is your time. So how you spend your time eventually reflects, I shouldn't say it reflects how much money you have, because that's not true. But how you spend your time, you should treat as valuable as to how you spend your money. Okay, spending your time and spending your money, you should consider these things as one part of your currency, not separate. Think about it like this. I mean, I'm thinking of the richest person in the world versus the poorest person in the world. Neither one of them can buy time. They can both waste a lot of it, can't buy more of it. Now, money is the variable that obviously is a man-made product. So it's the variable out of the three of these that are the most unstable. So reputation is a product of how you spend that first variable, which is your time. Your reputation is reflected by how you spend your time. The money that you get usually happens because of how you spent your time. All right. Someone with a lot of money, but the absolute worst reputation, can still make a lot of things. They can make anything happen, really. Just throw some money at it. Almost anything. Almost anything. They can do a lot of things with money. But someone with the greatest reputation, but no money, can still get a lot done. Just off of picking up the phone or asking a friend or making a video asking for anything. They don't necessarily have to have money because their reputation is so good that people will give them money. All right, so the reason I think you're not considered, if you don't consider your time or if you don't consider your reputation as a part of what you're exchanging for your service or product, to me that's unhealthy, because you can still get things done if you consider how much you have of. If you have no money and you just have your reputation, you can still get things done. Okay, and your reputation, I mean, long story short, it matters. It's the easiest thing that I can say. If you go broke tomorrow and your reputation sucks, then you went from 0 plus a lot of money plus 0 to 0. And who is going to give you, let's see what I did, to 0. Who is going to give you anything if you have nothing? All right. Reputation is a part of your currency. Don't forget it. It matters. I hope I'm explaining this well, but if not, just bully me on the internet, because I don't know where I'm posting this. And I might even put these videos inside the playbook, raw and unfiltered, just like this. So, it'll be just like a coaching session. You'll feel like I'm actually coaching. All right, so let's return to the mission. So, whenever you finish a mission inside the playbook, you would go to finish, you click done. What's happening is, on the home screen, we are gaining experience points. So when we did that first mission, you can click on it, you can see what missions you've done. We just researched how business began. So congrats, you now have a healthier relationship with business because you completed the first mission. We're going to continue on to the next mission until one of my cameras die, and then I'll probably call it a day. The next mission is identify one key principle that has always existed. We just talked about this in the last mission, right? One thing that has always existed is trade. Always, from the beginning of time, from the beginning of business, that's one thing that has always existed. So if it's always existed, you should consider it as a part of your skill tree. Let's just say it like that. Let's just say, I don't know, skill tree might not be good. Part of your inventory, because since I'm looking at the word inventory, I think that's, no, a part of your ability list. I don't know, we'll play around with it. But trading is a part of your war chest, a part of your accessories. I don't know. You guys know, I don't know. People trade something that they have for something that they want or need. And we call that value exchange. All right? We've been doing that forever. I need to pay my mortgage, therefore I trade my coaching. Plain and simple. Value exchange. You just have to see if the value is worth it to you or not. So that's one example. We can look at the simple example. Imagine you have two snacks. You have a bag of chips. Your friend has a cookie. You both want what the other has, so you trade. Oh, I see. So remember, I'm doing this playbook for the first time with you guys. So if I'm ever pausing and stopping, it's because I'm thinking as the owner of this product, like, would I phrase this a little bit differently? But, we got to pause that because trying to get me demonetized. I'm teasing. not nowhere close to montage. But let's go back to Pitch Play's playlist because it was keeping us hype. All right, let's go to our mission. All right, so how I would word this, you have 2 snacks, you have 2 bags of chips, your friend has a cookie, you trade. I'm probably reading it incorrectly right now because when you on camera and the pressure's on you, you're probably questioning yourself, but y'all probably are agreeing with me, who knows. But anyway, that's value exchange. I gave up my bag of chips, my friend gave me a cookie, we're trading. And I have 2 bags of chips, I'm assuming. They have 2 cookies, I'm assuming. We trade. All right, so you give something of value, you get something of value. All right. I never said, hey, bro, let me pay for that cookie. I said, hey, bro, I got some chips. He said, bet. I got 2 cookies. You want one? Deal. If we're looking at the different time periods of when this was pretty common, we already explained this in the last mission, but you have the before times. A farmer trades wheat for a pot or wheat for clothes. And then we evolve into the Middle Ages where people start to gather in the settlements. And I go to a blacksmith to get my sword repaired. And he's like, oh, what are you going to give me for repairing your sword? Oh, I'm a farmer. I have chickens to give you. Here's some chickens. Or eggs or whatever they think is valuable enough for their time. And then the industrial era, the industrial revolution era. So a factory sells shoes for money because you need money to keep that factory up and to keep those workers inside your factory. So now trade has become a little bit more simple. I'm trading money. And then now, obviously, you're trading digital currency. You're still trading digital money. We just made trade a lot easier now with dollars and country-specific currencies and stuff like that. And eventually, in the future, we'll probably move towards cryptocurrency or digital currency. So we definitely won't have money. So we'll exchange digital currency in the future for whatever physical products we want to own or digital products we want to own. Honestly, the future is going to be very confusing for me to explain right now, obviously, because I'm not there. But I'm sure it'll be simple once we're there. See if we like it or we hate it, but that's where we're going to. And then why this matters, because let's say you're trying to start a business. Every business needs money to survive in today's era. But you do have this in your arsenal. You have trading. So what exactly do you have that you could trade if you can't trade money? That's a question that I would leave with you. Without value exchange, no business would happen. You see businesses do partnerships all the time. Partnerships don't always mean I'm going to pay you money. Sometimes it means, hey, I have an audience that you can't reach. You have a product that my audience need. Let's partner. That's value exchange. No one would have a reason to trade or buy things if it wasn't any value exchange happening. And then everyone would have to make or do everything themselves if there was no trade. Obviously, we don't want that. Because remember, our time is very limited and we're evolving as civilizations. More people are gathering, we're trading more, we're more global. So value exchange is extremely, extremely important. So whether it's barter, money, or digital currency, as we discussed, value exchange has always been the core of business from the before times to now. So we're just going to, since we're doing the mission, we're going to do it correctly. And let's just write it out. So we're going to identify one key principle that has always existed. One key principle that has always existed. Obviously, we just said a principle that has always existed has been value exchange. Let's see if we can come up with another on our own. It's going to be a little tough for me to kind of think on the spot. One key principle that has always existed in business is every business is a solution to a problem. Every business is a solution to a problem. I want you to really, really, really think about it. You can't think of one business that does not solve an issue. You're hungry, you don't have a lot of time, fast food. That's a business model, and it solves your problem that you don't have a lot of time to eat and you need something that's tasty and delicious. Not necessarily nutritious, but you just need something to eat really quick, right? So every business is a solution to a problem. I think fast food is the easy example, and I think that's the easiest note that we can say. I'm curious to see if anyone does this mission and provides a different answer. I'm curious to see what you think. What key principle has always existed in business? I'm just gonna write in business so that it makes life easy for me later. And if you grab your own copy of the playbook, this is open, the notes section, so you can type whatever it is that you want. All right, let's go back to our mission. And we just completed that. Let's go ahead and click done. And let's see how much experience points we have. And I'm just learning this hotkey, so bear with me. But y'all see I'm getting smooth with it. All right, we got 40 experience. So we just did 2 missions. The second one, 15 experience. First one, 40. We researched how business began, and now we were able to identify one key principle that has always existed. All right, so I'm just looking at my time. I think a good lecture is an hour. Before people get bored. Before teachers get bored, they make it 50 minutes to an hour. Let's keep going. We'll go to the next mission, and this will be the last one I end on. And this is perfect. So, short reflection. How am I playing the game right now? So, how are you playing the game of business right now is what this question is asking you, and it's requiring you to think. And I want you to think good about this. How are you playing the game of business right now? I'm just going to write. Oh, so this part is locked, so I can't change the name of the mission, but in my note, I can change it. But we're going to use these sentence starters to figure out how we're playing, or just to make our life a lot easier. So one way I trade value in my life is when I do career coaching. I've learned a lot. I'm able to teach other people what I've learned, and then that's how I trade value in my life. So one way I trade value in my life is when I coach. 2, even though I am not running a business, I still like to coach. When I play, so I have a YouTube channel and it's funny for the people that watch this on YouTube, but I have a YouTube channel, and I like talking to people about real life stuff, things I learned throughout life. It's stuff that I wish I knew as a child, and I call it Gems in Gaming. Right? So even though I'm not running a business, I still career coach. So first, one way I trade value in my life is when I coach other people. 2, even though I'm not running a business, I still coach other people. All right. 3, something I gave or did recently that had value was my time and knowledge. My niece was over. She lives in Dallas, and I was able to spend time with her, and I was able to teach her how to drive for the first time, just the basics. She still has to get her permit and her license, but I said, hey, here's the most basic principles of a car. Here's how it feels. This is what you need to know. Let's work on getting your permit so I can actually take you somewhere and get you behind the wheel, but this is what I can teach you up to this point. Right? So something that I gave or did recently that have value was coaching. We have a theme here for me. In return, I got appreciation, which really matters. Remember, we're talking about reputation being a part of your currency. Remember, time, money, reputation makes up a currency, at least in my head. So the appreciation was +1 reputation for taking the time to teach me how to drive, right? So that, was something I got in return was appreciation. And this shows that I'm already walking in my purpose, or I'm already coaching people. Therefore, I should own a business called Pitch Play Co., where the concept is business is a game and we teach people how to play. Obviously, this is already what I'm doing. So this is how I exchange value. So I want you to do the same thing. How are you playing the game of business right now? Use the same sentence starters. One way I trade value in my life is when I, such and such, even though I'm not running a business, I still, yada yada. Something I gave or did recently that had value was blah blah blah. In return, I got blah. This shows that I'm already, and this mission is supposed to help you think. Are you truly playing the game of business in a healthy manner? Or are you just waking up on autopilot and chasing money, which, remember, we established as an unhealthy relationship because you're not considering the other two parts of currency, which is your time and reputation. And that doesn't mean I'm not trying to say that how you're playing right now is incorrect. I just want to make sure that it's healthy for you. All right, so we can write it down, obviously, since we're doing a tutorial. I'll just make sure that we're doing it correctly. And we're going to use those same sentence starters here. So we're going to just make life easy. So I'm just copy and paste. You can do the same thing in your playbook when you get yours. Obviously, I'll leave a link wherever I post it so you can get it. One way I trade value in my life is when I coach other people. Okay. Even though I'm not running a business, I still coach other people with my YouTube series called Gems in Gaming. By the way, I'm slick famous now. I have 200 subscribers or something like that. It's a lot for me, so it's a win. Something I gave or did recently that had a value. Let's go ahead and add our date, so when I come back and look at this, I know. Something I did recently that had a value. Hold on one sec. Was coach my niece. How you spell niece? It's a tough word, right? It's N-I-E. Niece how to drive. Kinda, just to make it simple for what we're doing. I taught her how to drive. In return, I got appreciation, which to me is valuable because it's a part of your currency. And then lastly, this shows that I'm already playing the game purposefully. I don't have my glasses on and typing is kind of weird without them, but for the aesthetics, I'm not gonna wear my glasses. All right, so boom, let's go ahead and return to the mission. Incorrect mission. Let's return to the next mission. How am I playing the game right now? And then let's go ahead and click done. Boom. Return home. The cool thing about me actually using the playbook, you get to see some of the errors inside the playbook, but I get to go ahead and fix it for all of my clients right now. So that's pretty dope.